Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the woolly mammoth was still roaming the earth when the Great Pyramid of Giza was being built? While most mammoths went extinct about 10,000 years ago, a small population survived on Wrangel Island, off the coast of Siberia, until around 1650 BC. That's about 1,000 years after the pyramids were completed. So, when ancient Egyptians were constructing one of the world's greatest wonders, woolly mammoths were still alive and kicking in a remote corner of the world. Here's a fun fact. The ancient Greeks used fire to send signals across long distances, kind of like an early version of texting. They developed a system called the hydraulos, using torches and water clocks to communicate letters and messages over hills and across valleys. This was centuries before the invention of the telegraph or even written mail. Imagine sending a message across miles using only fire and water. Talk about ancient ingenuity. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Did you know that Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, lived closer in time to the moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza? The Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, over 2,500 years apart. But from Cleopatra to the moon landing in 1969, it's only about 2,000 years. Time is wild when you think about it, isn't it? History isn't just old, it's full of surprises. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient Chinese invented the first known form of paper, money, over 1,000 years ago? During the Tang Dynasty, merchants began using paper, promissory notes, as a convenient way to avoid carrying heavy coins. By the Song Dynasty, the government officially issued the world's first paper currency. This innovation revolutionized trade and commerce, making transactions faster and easier. Today's banknotes are direct descendants of this early Chinese invention, proving that sometimes the best ideas truly stand the test of time. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians had a board game called Senet that dates back over 5,000 years? Senet was so popular that it was played by both peasants and pharaohs, including the famous king Tutankhamun. The game was believed to represent the journey of the soul to the afterlife, with each move potentially affecting a player's fate in the spiritual realm. Some historians even consider it to be one of the oldest known games in the world, making it the great-grandparent of all modern board games. Here's a fun fact. The ancient Romans used a form of central heating over 2,000 years ago, known as the hypocaust system. It worked by circulating hot air from a furnace through hollow spaces under floors and within the walls of villas and public baths. This ingenious system kept rooms warm and toasty, even during cold winters. The Romans were so advanced in their technology that their concept of heating laid the groundwork for the systems we use in modern homes today. Here's a fun fact. The ancient Mesopotamians were the first to brew beer. Over 5,000 years ago, they even had a goddess of brewing named Ninkasi and dedicated to him. To her, that doubled as a recipe for beer. Made from barley, emmer wheat, and honey, beer was a staple in Mesopotamian diets and was considered safer to drink than water. It was so important that workers were often paid in beer rations. So, the next time you enjoy a cold one, remember, it's a tradition that's been around since the dawn of civilization. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient Greeks invented the first known vending machine? Around 215 BC, a Greek engineer named Hero of Alexandria designed a device that dispensed holy water in temples. When a coin was inserted, it would fall onto a lever, opening a valve and releasing a small amount of water. Once the coin slid off, the lever would close the valve again. It may not have sold snacks, but it's the ancestor of the modern vending machines we use today. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient city of Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley had one of the world's earliest and most advanced drainage systems? Over 4,500 years ago, this city had a complex network of brick-lined sewers running beneath its streets, connected to almost every house. The system was so sophisticated that it included covered drains, soak pits, and even a great public bath. While many cities today still struggle with sanitation, Mohenjo-Daro's engineering marvels show us how advanced and forward-thinking this ancient civilization truly was. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient city of Cahokia, located near present-day St. Louis, was once larger than London? Around 1,000 years ago, Cahokia was the largest city in North America, with an estimated population of up to 20,000 people. The city featured massive earthen mounds, some reaching 100 feet high, and a complex society with trade networks that stretched from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. Yet, despite its size and influence, Cahokia mysteriously declined and was abandoned by the 14th century, leaving behind more questions than answers. Here's a fun fact. Coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, but support about 25% of all marine life, known as the rainforests of the sea. These vibrant ecosystems provide food, shelter, and breeding grounds for thousands of species. However, they're under threat from climate change, pollution, and overfishing. By protecting coral reefs, we're not just preserving their beauty. We're safeguarding the future of countless marine creatures that rely on them for survival. Did you know that planting just one tree can absorb up to 48 pounds of carbon dioxide every year? Trees are nature's incredible air purifiers, taking in CO2 and releasing oxygen. But that's not all. Trees also provide habitats for wildlife, prevent soil erosion, and even cool our cities by offering shade. Every tree we plant makes a big difference in preserving our planet for future generations, one leaf at a time. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians invented the first toothpaste over 5,000 years ago? Their toothpaste recipe included ingredients like powdered ashes, burnt eggshells, and even ground-up ox hooves. They were obsessed with dental hygiene, and despite the strange ingredients. So, the next time you brush your teeth, remember you're continuing a tradition that dates back to one of the world's oldest civilizations. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that pineapples take up to 2 years to grow, despite their prickly exterior and sweet taste? These tropical fruits are incredibly slow to develop. Each pineapple plant produces just one fruit at a time, making them a true labor of love. And here's a bonus fact. Pineapples aren't just one fruit, but a collection of berries fused together around a central core. So, the next time you enjoy a slice of pineapple, remember all the time and effort it took to grow. Did you know that the ancient Romans were the first to create concrete, a material that has shaped the world we live in today? Their secret recipe included volcanic ash, lime, and seawater, making it incredibly durable. In fact, some Roman structures like the Pantheon and aqueducts still stand strong after nearly 2,000 years. This ancient innovation laid the foundation, literally, for the modern construction techniques we use today. Here's a fun fact. The ancient Maya had a calendar system, so precise that it was more accurate than the one we use today. They calculated the solar year to be 365.2420 days long, only 0.0002 days off from our current estimate. The Maya were incredible astronomers and mathematicians, using their knowledge to predict solar eclipses, track planetary movements, and guide agricultural cycles. Their advanced understanding of time and space is still awe-inspiring thousands of years later. Did you know that the first oranges weren't orange? The original oranges from Southeast Asia were actually green, and even today, some oranges in warmer climates stay green even when ripe. So, the next time you peel an orange, remember it wasn't always this color. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that a single strand of spider silk is thinner than a human hair, yet 5 times stronger than steel of the same thickness? Spider silk is incredibly durable and flexible, which is why it's been studied for everything, from bulletproof vests to medical sutures. Some spiders can even produce different types of silk for different purposes, like building webs, catching prey, or protecting their eggs. It's nature's very own supermaterial. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that sloths are so slow that algae actually grow on their fur? This green tint helps them blend into the trees, providing natural camouflage from predators. But there's more. Sloths only climb down from their trees once a week to relieve themselves. It's a risky move since they're vulnerable on the ground, but it's essential for their survival. These slow-moving creatures have adapted in some truly fascinating ways. Here's a fun fact. The longest hiccuping spree lasted an astonishing 68 years. Charles Osborne, an American farmer, started hiccuping in 1922 after a freak accident while attempting to weigh a hog. His hiccups, which started suddenly, persisted for nearly 7 decades, averaging an incredible 20 to 40 hiccups per minute. Despite countless attempts to find a cure, nothing worked. It wasn't until 1990 that his hiccups mysteriously stopped, just 1 year before he passed away. Imagine having the hiccups for that long. It's a world record that no one will want to break. Fun fact. Did you know that a crocodile can't stick its tongue out? That's because their tongues are held in place by a membrane that keeps them in place on the roof of their mouths. It's just another thing that makes these ancient reptiles so unique. Fun fact. Did you know that a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance? These vibrant pink birds are not just visually striking. They also have one of the most flamboyant group names in the animal kingdom. So, if you ever see a bunch of flamingos hanging out together, you're witnessing a true flamboyance in action. Fun fact. Did you know that bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't? Botanically speaking, a berry is a fruit that comes from a single flower with one ovary and has seeds embedded inside the flesh. Bananas fit this definition perfectly, while strawberries do not. So next time you're making a smoothie, remember, you might be adding more berries than you think. Fun fact. Did you know that honey never spoils? Archaeologists have discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. The secret lies in honey's natural properties. It's low in moisture and high in acidity, which makes it an unfriendly environment for bacteria and microorganisms. So, the next time you enjoy a spoonful of honey, remember, you're tasting something that could literally last forever. Did you know that Samayaza, once one of the most powerful angels, fell from grace due to his forbidden desires? As a leader among the Watchers, he was entrusted with guiding humanity, but his fascination with the mortal world grew too strong. Samayaza and his followers descended to Earth, driven by their longing for human experiences and the allure of earthly pleasures. They taught humanity forbidden knowledge, secrets that were never meant to be shared. This act of defiance angered the heavens. As punishment, Samayaza and the rebellious angels were cast out of paradise. Their once radiant wings turned to shadow. Stripped of their divine glory, they were bound to the earth, forever wandering in the darkness they had chosen. Samayaza's tale is a haunting reminder that even the most powerful beings can fall, consumed by their own desires, leaving behind a legacy of lost light and eternal regret.